Okay, so this is my milestone check-in summary video for the Space Invaders project in uh, the architecture of real-time systems. Here is just a glimpse at my class diagram. Um, I've removed a lot of the base nodes that provide the links for some of these classes. Um, but you can see all these manager structures here. And this factory, well, it's not clear here what the relationship's actually doing. If we look over here, we can see that go away. That the factory is creating game objects. So, yeah, that's that. And it works. It meets all the requirements. See, the aliens are all moving in time, animating. And then they drop down. And then it works again on the other edge, which I guess we'll give a minute. Okay. I've got these print messages here to let me know how many times things are printing. Yeah, so I guess I will just go ahead and walk through a single run through the program just because that seems like a good idea at this point. This needs a better title, obviously. Set image and screen rec. It's not right. Okay, so we initialize, do some stuff here. I've got these this class that sort of lists and tracks some statistics across different parts of the program. It's all just static ints and floats for the most part. I thought, nope, got rid of the constants. And so that way I can sort of scale my height and width. Yeah. So that works. We can see the screen color was black. Set to black. So it initializes all of those. And then we get here. I'm planning to initialize my managers in a static context rather than using this method here that simply lists or establishes them through a get instance and then initializes the content of managers I've put that into. So then what I've got going on right now is I add 4 sprites to the game sprite manager. We'll look at this last one here. This yeah, so we this is that get instance is one of the reasons why I want to move away from using the sort of lazy instantiation because I end up initializing everything at the beginning anyway, so there's no reason to add all of these extra checks for nullity. Then I passed in an image name. The image here is null. This might not be the best example to have stepped into, but I'm way too far along to change that. Yep, everything is null there. So I've got this swap and find helper is what I called it. It's simply a static image that I use to, I've set the name here so that I can use it in finding the appropriate image to attach to the game sprite that has requested it. So there was the compare method that's being done in the link itself. We'll step back into that. So we can see that, oh no, I left that in the manager. Oh no, I didn't. So then should go there. I don't know what I did. Okay. I lost a version of, oh, there it was again. Okay. Oops. And so then we step through all that. Eventually, we're going to return. That actually probably should have been the last one. It is null because there is no null image. So, tracking the number of constructor calls to image. We wash the null image even though it's null. Set a name-based rectangle. In this case, we're looking at is null. And then we're looking for in the texture manager for aliens. So steps into aliens and tries to find that particular texture. Should be pretty quick. Get instance, so on and so forth. Return. I guess it was the very first node I looked at, which is great. And now we should be returning this image rather than a new image. And now we go back into find again for some reason. Oh, because we'll just step over this. We can see in the way too long constructor here that the image manager is called twice in order to find, if we look at the previous instance, both crab up and crab down. So that that's what's going on there. And so it just sort of constructs the object with a couple of finds, and then yeah, for some reason I redundantly find the texture, and then we actually add the sprite. So it adds through the base, checks to make sure there's anything on the reserve, clears out the reserve. I'm using the swap and find aid I called in this class, which is my abstract general manager, in order to avoid having to, it saves a few steps in terms of pulling the reserve head out. Yep, and then track that statistic, base. Now it goes about washing, setting the two images, which should be null and null in this case. Then we set the rectangle, the texture, and the name. And we've got the alien tree get set up. It's a new PCS tree. The alien factory for game sprites. So we can see what the alien factory looks like in here. This is all before anything gets updated or drawn. Then again, this is going back in to find the game sprite tree within the game sprite batch manager. It sets the tree to the alien tree that we just created out here. Now we create a grid. That was, oh, I stepped over it, but we can see that cancel the edit. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so create the grid. And then attach the grid to the game object manager, which is simply base add, and then setting the new head to this alien out that was passed in. Then inserting that into the tree, which is the parent. So there we go. Or the parent was null, so it was the very first thing we're putting in there. Then we returned alien out to the grid. And the rest of this here is sort of setting up the grid of aliens. So we initialize 11 octopi, and then sent the have a reference to that temporarily stored as temp, and then establish that as the following parent. So we see that's going to create the octopus, and attach it to the sprite batch manager for the proxy sprite, and then that goes on. So what this does is it adds under the grid in the first, as the first child, an octopus. Then it adds as the first child of the octopus another octopus, and does that 11 times. And it moves on to the do the same thing for the squid. The first squid being a sibling of the octopus. Then it moves on to the next squid, then the two crabs, and then we've just got some checks down here to print out some statistics, make sure that I don't have a ton of extra stuff that had happened. So we can take a look at that, and we'll see that I've got 4 game sprite manager nodes, so 1 for each sprite. I've got 2 sprite batch manager nodes. I've got 0 sprite boxes in operation currently. Timer manager has 6 nodes, 1 for the grid and 1 for each of the sets of the alien columns. We've got 7 images. 1 should be the null image node that we looked at before, we saw, and the other 6 are going to be the 2 alternating images. Game Object Manager has 56 nodes, that's 55 aliens and a grid. And then that's going to dump the tree. So we can see that the parent-child relationship, like I said, is octopus, 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 octopus. And then if we go up, we can see that parent is grid, the child is octopus, and this is the last sibling, so it doesn't show a sibling. But here we go, the next sibling up for that squid was an octopus. So that's that. Now we get to drawing, which is fun.